Hello, how are you? I have been making it a point to go live more and I need to repost the lives that I've been doing, but I have a really important message today and I'm actually going to send this message to my email list. I'm going to be putting it in different places and avenues because it's super important and it's something you need to hear today. And this is what is so powerful and so real and so true. And it is, you need to stop waiting on external circumstances to be right in order for you to move in your business. You know, business and becoming the person who has results, it's going to take you facing your fears. It's going to take the circumstances actually looking the absolute worst and you still deciding to go. I used to be a real estate agent and because I became an excellent cold caller and really lethal, I'd honed that skill. So, you know, I'd been working with coaches for over a decade to make sure that I knew how to call for sell by owners and expireds and have them hire me. And so they'd have me sometimes go down and talk to the new agents. I was in an office of 700 agents at the very end and go talk to the new agents. And I literally, they had me stop coming to speak after I said this more than once, but I was just being so honest. And I would tell them, listen, this business is going to beat you before it ever pays you in your bank account. Like it's going to ask everything of you before it actually starts producing. And I think that people want to believe that it's going to be easy or that the circumstances are going to be right. And don't get me wrong, there have been seasons when everything is lined up perfect for me, but it's always when I've put in the reps. It's when I've mastered the skill. It's when I've faced the biggest dragon in my mind, right? Like I was listening to this amazing speech and the gentleman was saying, you don't know what it's like to be a successful entrepreneur when you smile, you carry the burden, and you have a fire alarm going off inside of you, and you keep going and you don't let anyone know what's happening. You know, it takes a special person to do that. And most people are wanting some external circumstance to shift so that the timing becomes right, so that then they feel safe to take the action. And why that makes perfect sense is your nervous system is designed that way. We biologically are designed as human beings to want and crave safety from caveman era, right? Just safety, food, shelter, stay away from the tiger. That was it. And so as we've grown and evolved, it's like when you are a business owner or when you are an entrepreneur, you are literally exposing yourself to risk all the time. And the more that you wait on external situations to look good, the more that you're going to slow down the momentum in your business. You're going to slow down you actually building confidence in yourself. You're going to slow down you honing and specializing in that craft. You're going to slow down you networking and feeling really good about the services or the business or the leadership or the team building because you're hoping that something will change outside of you. And I will tell you, it is never, ever, ever, ever about anything outside of you. And it never, ever, ever will be about anything outside of you. It will always be you recommitting. It'll always be a new level, a new devil, right? I heard this amazing saying, and it's like, listen, you need to learn to build in the dark. You need to learn to build when there is no light. And like why that struck me is so many entrepreneurs go through those seasons. They come from situations that just blow your mind. That's why we look up to these people. They are self-created. They are self-made. They come from places and backgrounds and me included where it's like, you know, when nobody was around, you had to learn to build in the dark. And so when the lights come on, you know how to move. And the lights are that external situation all of a sudden happening. The right circumstances happening for you. But for the most part, you're going to learn to build in the dark because you're going to face who it is you need to become. I can remember when I first started in real estate, I was 23. I hired my first business coach at 23. I was cold calling every morning in this glass conference room, and all these very established real estate agents would walk by me who didn't cold call and built their businesses off of open houses and all this other things. And they would say to me, oh, look at you, you know, like you're willing to do that. And I would go in the bathroom and I would cry every day. And then I would go on these appointments that weren't qualified, but made me feel good. And nobody would be there, and they'd be like in some ghetto neighborhood. And then I would take myself to my serving job. and I would serve tables until midnight. And then I would wake up at 5 and I would put something motivational in my ears. I'd go to the gym and I would do it all over again. And I did that for 1 solid year. Build in the dark. I remember when I was going to launch my coaching business, and I was sitting there thinking, okay, it was 2018. I was coming out of being an alcoholic. You know what I mean? Like, I had achieved so much success in real estate, and I had built my business in 4 different cities and learned so many skill sets, but I had so much trauma. And I remember it was like, man, there's a greater calling for me. I know there's something greater for me. And I'm going to close the door on my past and go towards my destiny. I know I'm here to impact thousands of people's lives. I know I'm here to help people become the greatest versions of themselves in business, but also in life, to show them what's possible. Like, look at all that I've already overcome. But here I was 32 and I was an alcoholic. I thought I did everything right. And I had a massive drinking problem. And I had personal relationship issues, and I had abusive boyfriends, and I was just like, what is going on? And I'd been married and divorced. And I thought, oh my God, right? Here's another season. Here's another season. The lights go off. Boom, I'm in the dark. And it's like, can you build in the dark? Can you conquer the internal parts of you that are screaming for relief, and not just conquer them, but learn how to sit with them, validate them, and heal them? And so as that was happening, I found breath work. I got sober and I found breath work all within like 90 days of each other. I started to learn about the nervous system. And even though that was in 2018 and I wouldn't launch my coaching business until 2020, what I learned during those times, it was like, oh, the unhealed version of me, the very ego-driven version of me, the hyper-independent version of me, the person that was not self-aware version of me, although I was very successful, I was also creating a lot of wreckage, a lot of damage. That version of me had to die. We had to all of a sudden let go of the past. It had to be something. It was like, you've got to close the doors, like close them and like nail them shut if you're going to continue to go after your destiny. And I get it. Most people aren't willing to go after their destiny. They're just not. Like, being willing to go after your destiny is a terrifying thing. It's scary, right? But I remember being in that situation and knowing like, okay, my trauma, when I learned my trauma was driving my train. When I learned that, when I started to realize, oh my God, I actually didn't have a choice with a lot of these decisions that got me into the situation at 32, but now I do have a decision. And furthermore, I'm willing to walk away from this big successful career in real estate where I think most people would have just healed and come back to it, but it wasn't my passion anymore. I knew God was calling me to something greater, saying, you are the one. I need you for something different, Sophie. And I've been refining you, and I've been showing you, and I've been helping you heal. And so when I launched my coaching business in 2020, I've been very open and very honest about a lot of things in my past. And that was such a blessing because I'm just looking at this really quickly. So I just remember thinking, sorry, I just got a little sidetracked, but I had to read this because it's part of my notes. I knew that I had been so honest about the success I'd had, the failure I had, the humanness behind me. And here people came and said, I want you to help me build. I want you to help me build my business. I want you to help me restore this relationship with myself. I've got things going on behind the scenes that I really don't want to tell anyone, or things that I talk to myself about, or how I speak to myself, or trauma in the past that I know is keeping me from being this person that I want to be in life and business. And I look up to you and I admire you and I've watched you and I've seen you. And it's like, okay. And I look at these people and I'm like, but are you willing to turn the lights off? Are you willing to build in the dark? And it's those seasons of darkness. It's those seasons of being willing to Trust not by sight, but by your purpose, but by your destiny, but by your calling, by really leaning in and going, I know like I know that I'm going to get through this, that I'm going to be able to answer my destiny because I'm tired of fighting with my history, right? And so when people go, yeah, I'm willing to do whatever it needs to happen, not just because I want to make more money. All my clients don't have a problem making money. Of course, they always want to make more of it, but it's like they have this issue of like control, self-sabotage, these internal struggles, not really understanding who they are, not really understanding their purpose, right? They come to this place in their life and they go, is this all there is? I thought I did everything right. I have the big house and the nice this and the wife and the kids and blah, and I am miserable. I'm unhappy, right? And it's like when you are in that place, I have to ask you, or I have to tell you, that is when the external circumstances that you built no longer support your internal desires and drive. And these shift and change. And this is what is so cool, is that people that are out here really doing something, people that are innovative, people that come and work with me, they are willing to say, you're right, and get honest. You're right. My external situation that when, I dreamt of this life 10 years ago, I'm no longer happy with my business. I'm no longer happy with my clients. I'm no longer happy in my marriage. I'm no longer happy with how I'm treating my body, my habits. I'm not happy, but this used to be what I really, really wanted. And it's like when you can own the level of honesty that you can have with yourself and moving with courage is a direct correlation of the amount of success you'll have in this life. Period, the end. Period, full stop, the end. Right? And so you will go through cycles of the darkness, and then you'll turn on the light, and the external situation is going to be perfect. Right? And then you'll be in this external situation and it'll create something that you no longer want. You'll have to go back into the darkness, back inside yourself, right? Refine who you are, call on something greater. It's the people that are willing to answer the call. It's the people that are willing to lead others. It's the people that have that story, that tenacity, that willingness to say, I promise you, no matter what, in the dark while you are building, you will not be alone. I will be there. I will be there, and I know what it's like to build in the dark. And when you have a mentor that has that level of conviction, that level of knowing, that level of, hey, I have built 5 businesses. I have built them. I have helped now hundreds of people within my breath work and within my coaching and close proximity and masterminds. It is a different level when you're like, okay. Because when you actually have something to lose, when you're no longer trying to make it, it takes a whole different level of honesty. I cannot believe you just got on here. So anyways, I'm going to close with this. If you're waiting on external circumstances to make sure that you're going to be successful, it will never happen. It doesn't work like that. It's never going to work like that. And I want you to take this message. This is something, like I said, I'm going to send to my email list. And if you are somebody that's like, I'm willing to build in the darkness, I'm willing to conquer my internal game, then you need to be inside the Becoming membership. There's nothing like it on the internet. It's business, it's breath work. It's really refining who you are, letting go of your history, right? No longer fighting with your history so you can go after your destiny. It's being in the room with high-powered individuals that are not looking for a kumbaya. They're not looking for a handhold. They're looking to refine. They're looking to grow. They want to be bigger, better leaders so that they can have bigger, better lives and bank accounts. And if you want more information on that, just comment breathe below and we'll get you all the details. It's $97 per month. I'll see you inside.